for an original song.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Letter. I wish the same could be said about what I'm about to do. That's what kept throwing me off. Simple isn't the adject I will use to describe the task at hand. Because really, how does one tell their husband that they want to separate and say that no, this is not a divorce? Not yet, at least. The possibility is there, but still, how am I even to explain that to Luke without him throwing a fit? Cutting too deeply into my sausage, I open my mouth to excuse myself. That is, until I spy Luke mashing and stirring his poached eggs with a fork like a petulant child. He has been silent all the while, chin in his hand and elbow resting on the table. I worry that my absence after the debacle may have caused more harm than good.
Luke?
It's not why, okay, it's you. It's not you, okay, it's you.
I think we need a bit of a break. You know, some time apart.
At my words, he grows still and silent. I'm not quite sure whether I should be worried or not. I take it as my cue to keep talking.
It's not permanent or anything like that. Just for a while. In a few days, perhaps. I was thinking I can move back into our penthouse in the meantime, but I won't be moving out right away, so that I can help settle everything here. And I haven't even thought of packing yet. And I'll want to ask Johans to assign some of our staff. Unless you want the penthouse anyway. Then I'll stay here instead.
No, you take the penthouse. It'll be easier for you.
It isn't supposed to be this easy, is it? Can he really react so aloof to it?
Isn't this to your liking? I imagine that you'd like the space and independence. You'll have the bed and covers to yourself, and you can have whatever you want prepared for meals. You can even have all the wine you want, though I'd rather that you don't.
This isn't about that, Hana. Well, it's partly that, but...
The man stops playing with his food, choosing instead to push the plate aside.
What's wrong, Luke?
He slumps back in his chair and just stops short of putting his feet up on the table. I suspect he is wanting some wine or absinthe by now, but with any sort of alcohol is suspiciously absent in his hands.
Aside from that disaster yesterday and you telling me you want a divorce, everything is peachy keen. Will you want me to start in the letters then? To start the divorce settlements and whatnot? Will you be seeking ways to throw me out onto the street without a penny to my name?
No, Luke, this isn't a divorce. I just told you this is only temporary. Are you really having a sulk because of what she said yesterday?
I am having a sulk because you believe her. You stormed out and now you're asking for us to split up? Soon enough, you'll want to throw me out like I'm a piece of trash.
Do you think I would be this calm if I believed her, Lucille Mitchell right? Because believe me, if I did, well, it wouldn't be pretty. Besides, I know how you feel about children. It makes her whole statement laughable.
Sure, whatever you say.
You, dude! His mouth draws into a thin line, and I can't bring myself to comment on his half-hearted reply. To me, the silence that follows feels oppressive. It only emphasizes the wall that has been built up by my absence and his hubris. And it looms between us, keeping us apart.
When are you leaving? In a week?
It won't take that long to pack. After All Saints, perhaps? I'll go and inform the staff of this.
He only nods. That was a nod. And I'll be lying if I said it didn't disappoint me. I expected more resistance. The man could be stubborn as a mule if he wants to be. Perhaps I can leave now, just to spite him. But that isn't like me. Even if this does end in a divorce, a thing we both surely wish to avoid, we can still leave on amicable terms. There's no point in making a mountain out of a molehill.
What are you still doing here? Just leave. You still have some packing to do, don't you? Go ahead. I won't stop you.
I think we made the bad choice, but we'll see. Go ahead. and do nothing. There isn't much to do, it seems, whenever I step up to the plate and try to take responsibility for something. Perhaps because everything is already being handled by someone hired specifically for that job. And with Johans overseeing the staff and Luke handling everything else as a whole, that doesn't leave much for me. I can't even take the job of delegation because all it takes is a word to one of the senior staff and everything will be taken care of for me. Moving in here a few days ago may have been very well the chore that took most effort from me. And that didn't take any real effort at all.
Yes, Hannah, go buy a mansion in the middle of nowhere. Good idea. Great plan.
There's no dishes to set aside and busy myself with. Any mess left behind is now nearly non-existent. To sit on a counter while eating cake is supposed to be my next plan. Alas, there isn't even one to finish off, and I don't even really know what brought me to the kitchen in the first place. It's not like I'm craving anything else, nor do I have any unfinished business left here. But there's a calling to this room. Speaking of calling, why not do just that? Might as well, since I have nothing better to do. At least that will require some effort on my part. With how cut off from the rest of Luxbourne the mansion is, and with how long it was abandoned before we moved in, having a landline is out of the question. The solution supposed to be our mobiles, though it isn't much considering how spotty the signals are in this area. It'll take a bit of maneuvering to get even a single bar as it is. It takes a bit, as I said it would. I have to park my rear on one of the cold drawers, but that suits me just fine. Another matter that needs my effort is whom to call. She who must not be named is certainly off the list. That doesn't leave much in the category of close friends who attended the party, along with the category of who else is awake at this early hour. But soon enough I manage, and the call goes through.
Hello, Rebecca Gales here. Who's this?
Good morning, Becky.
Hannah? Oh, wait, how did you get my number?
You responded to your RSVP through the phone. It's all saved in here, of course. I thought I'd like to say hi and make plans and get together sometime. Also, I'd love to hear news about your mother and father and about you, my dear. Oh, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, you're good. It's sports day at school today, so I was just prepping for that.
Figures that you'd be a teacher as well. I'm sure your students must absolutely adore you.
Don't know about that.
Dunno.
Mathematics?
History, actually. Anyway, it's real nice to know you've got my number. I was going to ask for yours because Mom wanted to keep in touch.
You could have asked, silly girl. I would have gladly given it to you.
Couldn't, though, because, well, the thing that happened. But really am sorry, though. I gotta run. School, schedule, stuff. Is there anything else you want to say? Don't want to use the mobile while driving.
Oh, of course, of course. I shouldn't keep you. But I wanted to thank you for your company yesterday.
Not a problem.
I was hoping you could thank Zachary on my behalf as well. He was really kind and wonderful.
Well, you can tell him that yourself if you want. I can give you his number.
Oh, no, I don't want to be a bother. Intruding on his privacy.
Pretty sure he'd be fine with it. If you two on a first-name basis and all. So his number, right, it's...
The call starts to go static, much to my frustration. Strange clicking noise drowns out most of her words, too. I can barely understand what she's saying.
78760304.
And then the line completely dies. I can feel a headache coming along. It's building up, starting from a light throbbing on one side of my head. The static is gone, and that helps a lot. But there is still an incessant, horrible clicking. Again and again and again. Which doesn't make sense. The mobile's turned off, isn't it? And if it isn't coming from the phone, then where? Looking about, I can't help but let my eyes be drawn to the hatch leading to the wine cellar once more. That's when the clicking stops and I can hear that crying. A familiar crying from before. What happened the other day when I was told that nobody should be down there? I tried to forget it because of how it unsettled me so. One can hardly do that when I'm looking at the very thing that I'm trying to forget. Somebody is crying down there again. But if I leave it alone, it simply won't stop bothering me for the rest of the day. They might have forgotten to lock it. And that, with the party going on.
This again?
Before we do that, I want to check something really quick. So, nothing with Isabel. Really high with Zachary. Luke's on the downward spiral, so we could have went up with him. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find the route because I'm curious. Branching tree. Alright, guys. We won't do that right now.
If
We'll do that.
somebody is pulling my leg, I will not be happy.
True enough, all it takes is a bit of a pull to open the hatch. As I look down to the cellar, a sense of unease washes over me. It isn't just the sudden onset of vertigo and nausea, but the darkness. It's suffocating. And as I look down, it feels as if it's looking back at me. I worry that something will suddenly pull me deep into it. The cries drown beneath the shrieks that start echoing in my head, high and shrill like nails being dragged across a chalkboard. They're all screaming, shouting at me, and I can just feel her rage. Help me. She wants to drown me, drag me down, and crush me in the very depths of darkness, until there is nothing left of me. The deep abyss awaits me for my death. They're all calling for it. This is a nightmare. There's a rope around my neck, and I can feel the rest of me being torn apart. They're still screaming. I'm screaming. Though it is not my voice that escapes my lips. It claws through, climbing up and forcing its way up my throat like putrid bile. I choke and gag, yet I scream and shriek all the same. And I am me, but not me. Oh! That's a really weird one. It pushes me down to my knees before I'm prone to vulnerable on my stomach. It makes me tumble and I can feel my whole body seizing, withering on the floor. Everything and nothing hurts. It feels like I'm on the verge of death. And if I'm not dying, I nearly wish I actually am.
Hannah? Hannah, what is going on in here? Why are you?
Brains.
Seeing Luke, something snaps back and I'm able to take a gasp of air on my own. Of my own volition. For the first time in what felt like centuries. I would have rejoiced and cried out for his name if the pain still did not rack my body. Instead, all I can do is stare listlessly as he comes to my side and lifts me up, cradling me in his arms. He tries to get me to my feet, perhaps to take me out of here. But all he is able to do is to get me to sit, make sure I'm not thrashing on the floor. I can still feel my muscle spasms, limbs jerking like puppets on a string. Luke holds me tight and keeps me still so that I do not hurt myself anymore. Whatever it is that happened, it has my mind feeling frayed and betrayed and battered. Eventually the pain dies down to a dull ache, and my own tongue stops feeling like cotton. It's only now that I feel the wetness on my cheeks, tears streaking down my face. A cough racks my body now that I don't feel like choking. And it's just all feels so horrible. But I don't care. I don't care.
Please.
What happened here? Who did this to you?
I don't know. I'm so sorry.
Shh, it's all right. You're safe now, Hannah.
I think he really does love her.
You're safe now.
Zachary. The pleasant aroma hits me long before I cross the threshold. Faint but light and warm, a reminder of what home is. Pa's stern but commanding gaze, Ma's tender smile, the sunlight filtering through the eaves in the morning, and the distant smell of cinnamon and vanilla as it wafts through the air every time something cooks from the room. The room, our room, Ma and Pa's pride and joy. My sister and I too eventually. But we aren't allowed there. Not yet. Not until we taller or older. Not until we've learned how to take care of ourselves. Not burn our hands or reach the cupboards without having to be lifted.
But a little peek wouldn't hurt, yeah?
The floorboards are cold under my feet, more than it usually is. The walls more foreboding than what I'm used to. Farther and farther the room goes. Ma's singing ceases and Pa...
No, please, wait! I'll be good! I'll sleep on time! Don't go!
I can't hear Pa. Oh, we going that route, aren't we? Really? We going that... Alright. Not above the ruckus clanging and the deafening roar of gunshots, nor the screams replacing the comforting soft melodies. There's only the blinding fear. When my foot slips, the Red Sea that catches me is bitter and frigid, but the blood that drips in my hand is warm, warm, warm. It ain't my blood. The walls tumble and everything goes quiet. It takes a few moments for everything to fall into place. My eyes to adjust to the relative darkness of the room. Despite the pleasant chill of the AC brings, my shirt is clinging tightly to me, and my blanket is a tangled mess around my throat. Morning has not even arrived, and yet...
Way too early for this thing, man.
And too long since the last I've woken up drenched in my own sweat, head littered with thoughts that are gone as soon as my eyes open. All too often, only imprints and brief images are left to haunt me for the rest of the day, or until my mind forgets about them. A gad, whichever comes first. Yet vivid or not, what little I can remember does not matter. Regardless, the desperation sticks, clawing up, pushing, urging me to relive every moment, every sensation, and... There's a twinkle in Ma's eyes when she looks up from her work. Flour dust in her nose and cheeks. The scent of freshly baked bread wafts from the oven as soon as Pa opens it, and the homely fragrance of honey fills the room. He reaches up and wipes the small beads of sweat away from his forehead before gesturing for me to come closer, the moment he spots me on my little hiding place behind the door. I expect him to be angry, but he pats on my back when I come within his arm's reach is encouraging enough. We'll have to taste these first before we put it up for sale tomorrow. You up for it, little man? Is it good enough? A knock cuts through the air before I answer. Sharp, heavy, demanding, familiar. So distantly familiar. Ma ushers me out of the kitchen when Pa moves to answer it. But I know what awaits outside. Taste of blood in my mouth sends an unpleasant churning in my gut. Ma's apron crinkles under my grip. Something snaps back into place. My bed remains in an utter disarray. The walls still need a new paint job, and the wall clock ticking opposite my bed is as unsettling as ever. Ash is right. I should have already replaced that when I had the chance.
You're no longer there, Zachary. Here and there are miles apart. Calm down. Breathe.
The pressure of my own fingers against my temples is a welcome sensation over the anxiety gripping me. It never really did anything to stave off the headache sure to follow after this before, but it grounds me. A little reminder that I am safe away from the place I once called home, from Ma and Pa's. The urgency with each rap that follows finally chases away the ghost threatening to hang around. Why anyone thinks it's a good idea to knock at someone else's door this late confuses me. Nana would chase them all away with a broom if she were here. No matter, it's a welcome break from the thoughts about to take a morbid turn if I left festering. It's probably just Ash anyway, looking for a place to to crash. Looking for a place to crash. Wonder if wonders why he's bothering with the courtesy when he never did so before. Even with that hunch, though, habit compels me to check who is the first through the peephole. Better safe than sorry, they say. Except the person that greets me on the other side ain't him. Unless his hair grew longer overnight and he started wearing a ponytail, of course, which I highly doubt will happen anytime soon, no matter how funny it will look in my mind. I waste no time opening the latches. What the?
Isabella, it's late.
Who? You look like you've seen a ghost. There's something I can't quite pinpoint in her eyes when she looks up. Her face is pallid shade, shoulders tense, breathing heavy, and uncontrolled shaking in her hands. She's trying to hold back. Hide if I didn't know any better.
Hey, Zach. Sorry, I know it's weird for me to show up at this hour, but you are the closest to my office, and...
No, it's perfectly fine. I'm not really working on anything right now. Do you want to come in?
Is it alright? I know you should be sleeping at this hour, but I thought... I'm sorry, I just thought... I have no idea why I went here. My feet just moved on their own after I got out of the office, and... Sorry.
She trails off, her voice lost in the muggy night air. I'll wait for her to say more, but instead she only responds as a downward shift of her gaze, back to her still trembling hands, as if the motion alone is enough of an explanation. A minuscule gesture, easy to miss if one is not paying attention, but for someone who's seen the same expression in the mirror, done the same thing too many times when night terrors are inevitable, it is not.
Hey, don't worry about it. At least you knocked. Ash just barges in and crashes on the couch whenever he feels like it. I swear that guy is one fine hairline away from being a criminal. Besides, you already know you can count on me whenever.
Without waiting for her to answer, I step away from the door and saunter over to the kitchenette. For a few good seconds, only the clinking of plates can be heard above the constant tick-tock. Late as it may be for a snack, the familiar motions keep me occupied, steering my mind away from dangerous thoughts. Isabel's company is not unwelcomed either. Whatever her reasons for showing up here at such an hour doesn't matter. I'll be damned if I just turn her away, frazzled as she is. The door clicks shut behind her and she finally enters, feet scuffling softly against the tile floor. In all the years I've known her, she has never once lost her ever upbeat spirit. Yet, in this particular moment, as she stands in my doorway holding her arms close to herself, it's as if I'm looking at someone completely withdrawn from the person I've come to know all these years.
Do you want to drink or eat anything? I haven't restocked my food stash yet, so ingredients may be a bit limited. But I'm sure I can whip something up with what I have here.
Just water will do, please. Thanks, Zach.
What? No additional food requests? That's new. I'll put something together for you anyway. Feel free to make yourself at home. You ain't exactly a new visitor here. Although my room's not at its most presentable right now. Sorry. New freelance gigs and such. Didn't have time to fix things up here lately.
It's okay. I don't mind.
Usually she'd have something more to say about that. A quip, a witty remark, to provoke a laugh or two. But nothing from her this time. Only a meek smile before she takes a seat on the couch, and a silence that stretches out until what we left hanging feels disconnecting. Before everything turns stifling and awkward, I continue talking, if only to keep the dead air at bay. How's one supposed to keep a conversation going when the person you're talking to is like this?
Anyway, gigs. Can you believe this one client we got? Boss had all my scheduled shoots shifted after they caught wind of this couple buying a new property. Man, must be nice to have all the money in the world. The world itself moves for you, huh?
She curled up on the side of the couch and hugging her knees close when I bring the tray carrying the sandwiches and water she requested. She starts to straighten up as I'm unloading the contents, but pauses as soon as I hold up my hand in a halting gesture.
You're a guest. Didn't I say you're free to make yourself at home? Here's your water. Careful.
Thank you. The tremor in her hands, though lighter, still hasn't subsided when she reaches out for the glass. I give her a questioning look, but she is quick to avert her eyes, keeping herself occupied by taking small gulps of water. Or maybe she just doesn't want me asking questions. We're in. This sudden loss for words, this bout of quiet, not normally present in our chats. Even the creaking of the old chair when I casually take a seat is a welcome break. Although the company's familiar, this has gone way past unnerving.
What happened? Overtime at work?
She doesn't answer immediately. Although Gulpin drains her glass, it is of its still remaining contents. One would think it will be enough to help her recover, yet she doesn't lose her taut grip on the glass as she cradles it on her lap. Her eyes take an unfocused gaze when she speaks again.
Yeah. Boss handed me extra work today. After what happened to Rose.
Rose. Why do I feel like you've mentioned her before? Sorry, I'm better with remembering faces than names.
She was my coworker. That will take some getting used to. I was just talking to her the other day.
Was? Did she resign or something? I think I'm missing a few details here, Bella.
You've never met her. I think I did mention her once, or twice. It doesn't matter. You probably heard her name recently from the news than me.
Something clicks then. A little memory from the night before. The red light from the dark room, the strong odor of the stop bath, the television's barely audible murmur in the background, and a glimpse of a bloody room. The news is everywhere, even in the morning that follows. I just didn't think the effects will strike someone this close to me.
Oh. Damn. I didn't mean to bring that up.
No, like I said, it'll take some getting used to, but it'll get better. I hope it will. Things might become a little busier for me, though. She left a lot of things unfinished, and I'm one of the few people in the office who knows how she works. Boss thinks the transition will be easier if I handle it.
That explains it. Well, just don't forget you still need rest. Even the most hard-working people I know don't keep hours as late as this. Hell, the subway stopped running hours ago. Crime rate might be lower here than most places, but that doesn't mean you can walk around freely in the middle of the night.
It's just for today.
Still a good thing you dropped by here first. I'm not just about to let you walk out here alone, especially not in the middle of the night. Who knows what else could happen? I'm not saying you should go right now, but I could accompany you home if you...
No! Wait, please!
The vehement tension in her voice makes me pause, and it's in this instant the mask she's been keeping falls apart, if only for a short while. Right then and there, I understood what's hiding behind her unfocused stare from the moment she arrived. Fear. Pure, unadulterated fear. It's disturbing to see such marring her usual upbeat contents. I've given up. With a sigh, I cross the small distance separating us, and I kneel in front of her. She doesn't flinch when I do so. However, the way she appears to make herself smaller against the couch is telling enough.
Bella, this ain't just about your coworker, is it? What is it really about? I'm all ears.
The sound of glass shattering rents through the air as soon as her hold on it loosens. In the span of a few seconds, her breathing grows labored.
I don't know anymore.
She claps her hands over her ears, pressing it tightly against the sides of her head. Her voice grows weaker with each word, each plea coming out of her mouth.
Please, please don't leave me alone. I don't want to be alone right now. I can't shake it off. Everywhere's not safe and...
Hide, Isabella. Look at me, look at me.
My hands are firm on her shoulder when I pull her up to look at me. It takes every force of will to ignore the terror in her eyes in favor of taking control of the situation. Too close, too familiar.
Breathe. Breathe. You're safe here. Inhale, hold, exhale. Stay in the present. I'm here. No one's gonna hurt you. Do you want to talk about it?
The force of which she shakes her head is enough reason to drop the topic together.
No more. Please, no more. I don't want to remember anymore.
Kate, no more talking. I won't ask any more. Can I get you anything? Another glass of water? I think I have a tub of that pistachio ice cream you love so much. We're gonna have to clean this mess first. Will you be fine on your own for a little while?
She nods lightly before retreating into herself again. No more words are exchanged after that. I take that as my cue to start cleaning the shards littering the floor before either one of us get hurt. The quiet hum of the AC is a pleasant distraction as I go over the menial task. More so than her ragged draws of breath or my little feeble attempts to tell a quick story or two. But the latter does the trick, and soon enough she's already drifted off by the time I return with the promised glass of water, her chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The strain on her shoulders gone. Frankly, I've never seen her this still. She mumbles something I don't quite catch when I carry her to the empty bed and hugs herself tighter against the mess of blankets. In spite of the fact that she appears relaxed, the small frown on her face hasn't quite disappeared. Whatever happened to her won't be leaving her any time soon. But for her sake, I hope it won't stay long with her, because no matter what promises I've made, this is the kind of fear no person could shield her from. I know. There's still questions left to be answered. Alright guys, I'm going to pause and actually look at the branch tree, and if it's not too much of a spoiler, I'm going to look at it. So I'm going to show it to you guys. Be right. Okay, well I can show it to you guys. So it does show there's butterfly effects. So there's two routes we could have taken. So when it comes to it, I believe we can go and click them again and go from there, I believe. So this is similar to a game called Reward Dilemma or something like that. It's the part of the 999 series, basically. So we have a couple of different routes we can go here. We're going to look at each person's route, see where we're going right now. We're going into some very interesting routes here. I'm not going to go too far. What? Oh. Oh, so hopefully we will be able to go back and look. I just wanted to show them all what this is. So it looks like we can play a couple of different... Wait, what? So, okay, so it shows where everything goes. Now, these might actually change, like certain games that do this kind of thing. The trees will change depending on what you pick. We still have a couple of different people. So let's see. There's still questions left to be answered. But the late hour, coupled with the sudden exhaustion, made my cold couch the more comfortable bed than it typically is. The darkness immediately welcomes me as soon as my head hits the makeshift pillow. I can only wish the dream will keep at a distance for now, for both of us. The first few notes, while muffled, are enough to wake me. In the end, it becomes one of those nights when sleep passes like a blink and it's plagued with a vague fuzz of thoughts. I lift a hand to rub away the drowsiness from my eyes, although it does little to relieve the gritty burning sensation from my eyelids. Outside, the sun is yet to peek over the horizon, but night has already given way to the cool morning light, washing over everything in a subtle gray hues. At this hour, the entire city remains unstirring. Ordinarily, waking up before my own alarm means abusing the snooze button twice or thrice just to catch those precious few extra minutes of sleep. but the persistent ringing makes it impossible.
This better be good.
Groggily, I scrambled for the bag sitting at the foot of the bed. The ringing still hasn't stopped, even as I fish the phone out, and Ashton's name flashes brightly on the screen when I turn it on. Must be pretty urgent if he hasn't dropped the call yet.
Took you long enough, Z-Man.
Ashton, it's 6 in the morning. Sun hasn't even risen. Hell, my brain ain't even awake yet. Stop calling me Z-Man.
It's 20 past 6, Zach.
You want to talk? Give me back my 5 extra minutes, Ash. I want my sleep.
Hey, don't make fun of me. I can be a more person too if I want to.
What's this all really about? You don't usually make calls around this hour. Is the world ending today?
Sorry about that. Becca rang me up a few minutes ago looking for Isabella. Said she didn't show up in her own apartment last night. We both tried calling, but her phone seems to be off. Do you have any idea where...
I should have known you two would come looking for her first thing in the morning.
Not a laughing matter, Zach. You can't really let your guard down with everything that's happened here recently. You've heard about the Cooper wound from the news. Everyone in the precinct has been restless ever since the incident the other day.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, Ash, about Bella.
I let my voice trail off, unsure of how to go about recounting the last night. If I should even say anything to him. He might be a close friend, but at the end of the day, whatever's bothering her ain't mine to speak of in the first place. On the bed, Isabella remained still as when I transferred her there last night. Sometime during her sleep, she pulled up a blanket over herself and tucked into it comfortably. Like this, it's easy to forget the horror in her eyes or how much her hands and lips were trembled. Save for her firm grip on the edge of the covers, she appears nearly as normal as she would any other day. Almost.
I'm not really sure how to go about this while being...
Zach, what about her?
Something, the worry, the concern, must have surfaced in my tone because his own shifts then. Carefully, as if he's preparing for the worst.
Look, you don't have to worry about her. She's with me right now. Since last night, in fact.
Oh, why didn't you just say so earlier?
She kinda knocked in the middle of the night. I couldn't possibly wake you two over that. And with how things are when she arrived, I thought it'd be best if I let her rest first. I just wasn't expecting people would be looking for her before the rooster even crows.
You could have at least called her something. Becca's beside herself with worry when she found out. You know how much she frets about the smallest stuff.
I know. I'm sorry. That was a lapse on my part. And I just didn't think... Okay, you know what? Rebecca's worries ain't completely baseless. Isabella hasn't been her usual self since the movie. Maybe even before that. I don't know if I should be opening my mouth about this, but Bella didn't outright say I shouldn't, so...
So something's wrong then?
I'm not quite sure, to be completely honest. I couldn't get the story out of her.
Really? I thought you'd have learned something from me by now.
That's not it. Ash, when she appeared at my doorstep last night, she was shaking, and when I tried to ask her about it, she just panicked. Had this frightened look on her face. I'd be surprised if this was the first time I've seen it, but it ain't. Dude, the first time, she was screaming.
First time? When was this? You weren't talking about the thing in the movie house, are you? Because that was just us fooling around. Granted, I think I went overboard with the joke, but...
No, it happened the day after. When she invited us to lunch, you weren't there. We were walking one second, and then the next, she's crying out. I'll be straight with you. That scared me shitless.
It bothered me if the way he fell silent after his telling. But whatever his opinion is stays absent from his voice when he speaks again. He's always been good with that, hiding what he thinks.
Did she say anything else?
Nothing. Won't tell me anything aside from a few vague words. I didn't want to push it.
Where is she? Is she still sleeping?
Right here with me, still sleeping. Should I wake her up or something? Let her know you guys are looking for her?
No need. Let her rest. I'll drop by in a few.
Today? Don't you have work at this time? I mean, I can drop her off home myself before meeting my client later.
Look who's talking.
My schedule's flexible, Ash. Last time I checked, you're the one who didn't have that luxury. How on earth do you think I'm able to tag along when you need me?
It's not completely out of the way.
They live on the other side of the town from you, Ash. Your definition of out of the way is a little screwed up, you know.
It's fine. I have some things I need to do anyway. I'll call you back. I've got to let Becca know that Scared Cat's fine. Bye.
He drops the call before I can even get a word in, and for several minutes after, I find myself simply listening as the rest of Luxborn rouses. The increasing sound of passing traffic, the bustle of the nearby shops preparing for the day, the growing clamor of the people while they go about their morning. Not the most soothing sound to hear following a troubled night, but the routine puts me at ease nevertheless. What's comforting, what's safe, what I'm used to. Nearby, Isabel ships, but doesn't wake, blissfully unaware as the city slowly stirs itself back to life. Was her night as restless as the one I had? Were her dreams as lucid? In a hushed moment like this, I envy her. Unreasonable, probably a little unfair, to say such in light of last night. If only forgetting is as easy as breathing. A small yawn escapes me when I rise from the couch to stretch. Luckily, the short conversation with Ash has effectively driven away any will to go back to bed. I still have a day to get through despite the proverbial ghost hanging round. An orange bottle sitting on the edge of my table is reassuring against my palm the instant I pick it up. The sterile odor of the capsules equally so. Yet the weight they carry is something I've never gotten used to. Years ago, I spent minutes, heck, even hours staring at a strange pill prior to taking it. Now it's just routine, a way to stave off unwanted nightly visits. Although I don't think Dr. Navarro will be quite pleased if he ever finds out that I'm relying on them again. I do owe him a visit regardless, especially after missing our appointments on purpose and ignoring his calls for weeks. Another sigh comes out, tired and weary, and then I pop a tablet into my mouth.
Zach? What time is it?
The bottle in my hand hits the table with more force than necessary. As much as I trust my friends, there are some things I'd rather keep to myself.
Morning, Bella. Did you sleep well?
She answered the question with a long, drawn-out yawn, one reminiscent of a child. A chuckle manages to come out of my mouth at the sight. In this manner, it's easy to mistake her for someone too young for responsibility. Inexperienced and immature, even. Easy to forget she was thrust into the role of an adult earlier than her own dreams can afford, to overlook how surprisingly observant she can be at times. Maybe not on the same level as Ash. Maybe not on the same level Ash exercises for its investigations, or Becca needs for her own work. But it's certainly enough to It's definitely enough to deftly put what she sees around her on canvas. And if the way her eyes flicker to the table and my hand says something, it is that I won't be able to avoid the question this time.
Only a little. I don't remember how I ended up on the bed, though.
My doing. You didn't look very comfortable sleeping on the couch, all hunched up like that.
It would have been enough for something temporary. Sorry I stole your bed.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Besides, what kind of gentleman would I be if I leave a lady sleeping in such uncomfortable conditions? Not in this house. My Nana would give me a tough scolding if I ever did that, I'm telling you.
Thanks a lot, Zach. I know I barged in at a very inconvenient time last night. I wasn't really thinking when I did, and...
Hey, it's cool, Bella. I ain't mad at you. That's what friends do. You guys are welcome here anytime. Although Ashton abuses the anytime part a lot, I don't really mind. We might have less wiggle room if all four of us are present, considering the size of this place. But as long as no one makes anything explode, it's totally fine.
Fine or not, I still owe you one for last night's trouble, especially since you don't seem to be...
A concerned expression passes over her features as she spares another curious glance over the table back at the bottle holding every small piece of what keeps the bad memories at bay. the blood blooming over Pa's heart, the horrified look on Ma's face as she watches him fall lifeless to the ground, and every ounce of spite seeping from the stranger's smile. You don't belong here. You monkeys don't belong here. Oh, come on! Really? We are going this route, aren't we? Never stops, doesn't it?
Well, you don't seem to be feeling well.
Is England now just full of...
Let me know, okay? I'll make it up to you somehow.
She makes a slight gesture with her head towards the bottle, asking a question without really asking. Subtlety has never been her greatest asset, but right now, even Ash would have been a little amazed, if not at a loss of words at that. She's left it up to me whether I will give her a response she wants to hear or not. So guys, we're gonna find out right now. But it's never easy, ain't it? Talking about my own problems, that is. It'll never be, not by a long shot. Not when I've let it stay this way for too long. I realized that a long time ago, when the wounds are still fresh and the dreams are being nightly occurrences, you can't force yourself to get better or move on to better things. It is what's normal now, and I can only cope. The question in her eyes may be unwarranted, born simply out of curiosity and sincere concern for a friend. I don't owe her an explanation, in fact. But, of all people I keep close in my life, she's probably one of the very few who perhaps I can trust with this. Maybe she won't understand entirely. I could never hope she will. No, never to the full extent. That alone is expected too much of her, and given too much of what I can. However, for all her shortcomings, I know she'll hear me out. And that is all I can ask of her.
My bad. I was kinda hoping you wouldn't have seen me with these.
The pills rattle lightly against the container as I gently set it back in its usual spot. Always a small area closest to my laptop, near the right hand. Within reach, and a quiet reminder of what I shouldn't miss every day.
What? Oh, is it bad? I was just thinking that maybe it's a cold like Becca's. Do you need me to get anything from the store? Soup or something? There's one nearby, right? I can run real quick and...
No, nothing of that sort. I'm perfectly healthy right now. It's really difficult to say, but... Can you promise me you'll listen at least?
What is this about, Zach?
I should have been upfront with you about this a long time ago. Well, Ashton found out without me telling him anything. But you already know how that guy is. Can't hide anything from him.
If it's something you're having trouble saying, you don't have to force yourself to tell me. I'll forget I ever saw anything and won't ask questions. Promise.
No, I need to get this off my chest eventually. Besides, we're already here. Might as well finish what I started, yeah?
If you say so.
She takes a seat on the couch, her posture easy and open, and her smile honest. As if this is just a simple talk between two friends on a regular day. It is far from one, but her unreserved air is enough to stamp down the twinge of unease that threatens to come up.
Let's hear it then.
And she does. True to her word, she listens while the story spills out of my mouth of Ma and Pa, that little old diner across the pond, and what it left in me that day. I can't recall most of it now. My own account jagged with a few missing details here and there. Past years just eroded most of my recollection of the whole incident. All except for that one moment in the kitchen. The ring of gunshots are as vivid as it sounded that day. Even Ma's hysterical screams the moment Pa's body hit the floor motionless, his lifeblood flowing out from under him. And the gunman. He was smiling. He was smiling when Pa opened the door to welcome him. He was smiling when he put a bullet in Pa's chest and Ma's head. I've heard stories of how the world can be a cruel place for people like us before. I never believed until that moment.
Nan and Gran took us right after that. Sis and I flew straight to New Jersey as soon as they heard the news. A few days after, Ma and Pa were laid to rest. and we have a new home a continent away. I didn't even get the chance to take my favorite pillow with me. They said something about the change of environment will be good for us. They had no idea the different kind of ghosts would follow me here.
I expect questions, most of those brimming like childlike curiosity, and maybe some that are a little too hard to answer. But to her credit, she just sat there, lent her ears, and looked at me with no expectations or unnecessary judgment in her eyes. She appears wiser and older like this, easier to see the breadwinner in her. Her younger siblings are lucky to have her. When I'm done, after everything's been said, she wraps her arms around me, a bit awkward considering the gap in our height, but it gets her sentiment across. But it's difficult to answer this kind if I am supposed to reciprocate the gesture given my earlier apprehension. Sorry, it's hard to do it in that voice. Or that accent. She pulls away shortly with a smile on her face. Not the reaction I braced myself for, but it obviously better than what I imagined.
Are you not gonna say anything?
You asked me just to listen.
Am I supposed to say anything after? Like, apologize or something? I don't think that's very appropriate, but if you want to hear one, I can think of something real quick.
Not really. Other people have something to say after usually. And they're not necessarily nice either.
Oh? Okay then. I won't. I can't think of something anyway. Sorry. I'm not very good with this. Who else knows, by the way?
My older sister, grandparents, and just Ash and you for now. Maybe I think I should tell Rebecca too, but...
But not right now?
Yeah, not right now. When I'm ready. Like today.
I'm sure she'll be willing to hear you out once you do.
I don't doubt she will. I'm more afraid of how she'll react after. One step at a time, yeah? Whew! Surprisingly, it feels good to get that one out my chest. I was a little afraid you'd be angrier. I didn't tell you earlier than today.
I'm not angry. I'm just surprised. You didn't look like it. I wouldn't have suspected. I suppose that's how it often is, isn't it? We all have our... what's the word Becca uses? Inner demons? But this is something personal to you. I understand why you'd rather have a few people know.
That too. Well, these past few weeks haven't been easy for you. I didn't want to add that. Not after last night.
Something passes in her face, brief, fleeting, and disappears right before I can recognize what it is.
You okay?
Yep, no worries. I'll be fine. Look, about last night... Never mind. This isn't a good time. But don't lose sleep over this, alright?
Come on, we're just
What's
sharing. I should be relieved her words are more than reassuring my ears. There should be comfort in hearing those alone, in knowing I have another person to rely on if things ever go bad. But somehow I find myself worrying more for her instead. I'll make another attempt to get the story out of her if I can. But this is a dance I know all too well, and with her, I doubt forcing her to say something would yield any results. As much as I want to imitate Ash, there's only so much I can ask that won't result in something a little over disastrous. At best, she'll stop talking to me until a week passes. At worst, I'd rather not risk it. I've never seen her angry. Outright annoyed, maybe, and not often directed at Ash. And often directed at Ash, but never furious. What do they say again about the happiest people when angered? Besides, it'd be unfair to her after our little chat.
So, food then?
She seems relieved at the brisk change of subject, and as if it's been simply waiting for its cue all this time, her stomach rumbles at the mention of food. Rather loudly, as a matter of fact.
Alrighty, Missy. We're going to get some chow now. Better be quick, though. Can't have your stomach starting a revolution on us here.
Don't make fun of me! I'm not that hungry!
Yeah, you are.
Maybe a little. I didn't think I'd end up skipping dinner last night.
And now we have one starved stomach protesting. Sorry, it'll be nothing fancy, since I'm a little low on stocks.
Why don't you just go out to eat?
I should probably drop by the grocery store after the meeting this afternoon.
I can make a quick run for you if you want.
Nah, I've got enough to put together something nice here. Maybe. I could always improvise if we're missing an ingredient or two. It ain't... Also, didn't I say you're a guest? Is this a Filipino thing? Or just Rebecca rubbing off on you?
A soft laughter that comes from her doesn't quite reach her eyes. Neither the answer is neither. Because if she stays idle, she'll remember.
On second thought, I might need a little help slicing up the potatoes while I prep the ham. You up for that?
What? Do you think instant noodles are all I'm about?
Yeah.
I'll have you know I can cook a mean paella with my eyes closed. All my siblings love it.
Sure you can. Come on. I think I know what we'll do with those spare ingredients.
Alright guys, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me for more of The Letter. Check out all the other videos, guys. Bye.
This is a no-go, I just can't take hold. This is a danger zone, back up and get me home. This is a no-go, I just can't take hold. This is a danger zone, back up and get me. So put your hand in mine, follow me, let me waste your time. Set up feet, do some stupid shit. Take a seat, let me waste your time. So put your